What if everything you were taught about success was wrong? What if hustle, goals, motivation, all the advice you've been fed was just noise covering up a harder, messier, more uncomfortable truth? Stephen Bartlett knows that truth. At 18, he was broke. At 21, he dropped out. By the age of 25, he had built a multi-million-dollar company. Today, he sits across from billionaires, icons, and game changers on one of the world's most watched podcasts. And after thousands of hours listening to the world's most successful minds, he didn't write a how-to book. He wrote a warning. 33 brutal, beautiful, often uncomfortable laws that govern success in business and life. These are not cliches, not motivational fluff. They're the lessons you learn the hard way, the kind that slaps you awake in the middle of your comfort zone. So if you're tired of recycled advice and ready to hear what works and what hurts, you're in the right place. Because these aren't Stephen's rules, they're the patterns of greatness, carved out by pain, clarity, and time. This isn't just the diary of a CEO, this is the reality, check no one else will give you. Part 1. Laws of Inner Game. Law 1. The Law of Identity. You don't get what you want, you get who you are. Success doesn't respond to desire. It responds to alignment. If you want to be disciplined, you can't just act disciplined. You must become someone for whom discipline is natural. Want better results? Don't chase them. Upgrade the identity they come from. Law 2. The Law of Energy. Energy is more valuable than time. Everyone talks about managing minutes. But what about managing momentum? Time without energy is wasted. That's why the most successful people protect their energy like gold. Sleep, food, and people all count. Your calendar means nothing if your battery is dead. Law 3. The Law of Three Selves. You're not one person, you're three: past you, who made promises present you, who must act future you, who pays the price. The goal: make decisions that your future self will thank you for, not recover from. Because success isn't built in the now, it's borrowed from the future. Law 4. The Law of Hard Truths. Your life is a reflection of what you tolerate. Everything in your life exists because you allow it. Your excuses, your habits, your mediocrity. It's not about blaming yourself, it's about owning the leverage. When you stop tolerating less, you start attracting more. Law 5. The Law of Ignorance. Knowing nothing can be your greatest strength. Experts are often blind to change. Beginners, they're open, curious, and adaptable. Stephen built his first company knowing nothing. And that's exactly why it worked. He didn't follow rules, he invented his own. Sometimes, not knowing the limits, it's what lets you break them. Law 6. The Law of Self-Respect. Before you chase external validation, ask, do you respect yourself when no one's watching? Self-respect isn't built on success. It's built on integrity, on doing what you said you'd do, on not betraying the version of you that knows better. Because without self-respect, no amount of applause feels real. Law 7. The Law of Discipline. Motivation is fleeting. Discipline is freedom. The most successful people don't feel like doing it. They do it anyway, because they've made consistency their identity. Discipline isn't about doing more. It's about doing the right things, especially when it's inconvenient. You can master your mind, but what happens when it's time to act? When motivation wanes, distractions arise, and pressure mounts, that's where the next set of laws comes in. Part 2. Laws of Action and Execution. Law 8. The Law of One More. Success lives just past the point of discomfort. The difference between average and elite: one more rep, one more cold email, one more hour of focus. Most people quit just as things start to work. The great ones, they lean into pie and keep going. Law 9. The Law of Consistency. Success doesn't come from intensity, it comes from repetition. From doing the boring, high-impact things over and over again. Showing up when it's easy doesn't count. Show up when it's hard, because consistency is the real compound interest. Law 10. The Law of Execution. Ideas are cheap. Execution is everything. Talk doesn't build anything. Thinking doesn't scale. The only thing that matters is what you actually do. Successful people aren't the smartest. They're the ones who ship. Done is better than perfect. Launch, learn, iterate, repeat. Law 11. The Law of Speed. The speed beats strategy when the world moves fast. Most people wait. They overthink. They hesitate. Meanwhile, winners test fast, fail fast, and adapt even faster. Speed creates momentum. Momentum creates confidence. Start now, perfect later. Law 12. The law of obsession. Obsession is the price of greatness. You don't need balance, you need to focus on the consequences. If your dream doesn't keep you up at night, it's not big enough or you're not honest enough. Obsession isn't unhealthy. Suppressing it is. Law 13. The law of focus. Distraction is the enemy of destiny. We live in a world that monetizes your attention. If you don't protect it, you're the product. Focus isn't a skill, it's a decision. A ruthless one. Choose what matters. Cut everything else. Law 14. The law of deliberate practice. Practice doesn't make perfect. Feedback does. Mindless repetition is a trap. Greatness requires feedback, friction, and iteration. You don't get better by doing things. You improve by doing them differently based on the results. Train with intention. Learn with humility. That's how progress compounds. You've learned how to think. You've learned how to act. But success doesn't happen alone. It happens in rooms, relationships, and conversations. And one wrong person can burn it all down. Part 3. Laws of relationships and people. Law 15. The law of toxicity. The wrong person can undo a decade of growth. One toxic friend, one jealous partner, one insecure manager. That's all it takes to stall your momentum. Your environment isn't neutral, it's constantly shaping you. Audit your circle like your future depends on it, because it does. Law 16. The law of people placement. Hire character, train skill. It's not about finding the most talented person. It's about putting the right person in the right place at the right time. Misplaced talent creates chaos. Aligned talent creates magic. Structure beats star power every time. Law 17. The law of authenticity. People can smell fake from a mile away. In a world obsessed with perfection, realness is rare. Don't brand yourself into a mask. Let people see your scars, they're your signal. The more honest you are, the more magnetic you become. Law 18. The law of trust versus control. You can't scale control, but you can scale trust. Micromanaging is insecurity in disguise. If you can't trust, you can't lead. Leaders don't do everything. They create people who can. Let go, empower, watch what happens. Law 19. The law of listening. The smartest people say the least. Listening isn't passive, it's strategic. Every conversation is a window into someone's mind. Ask, shut up, actually listen. Most people are unfamiliar with the exception. It's how you build loyalty, insight, and an advantage. Law 20. The law of confrontation. Unspoken tension doesn't disappear. It multiplies. If it's bothering you, it's building inside you. And eventually, it explodes or corrodes. High performers confront with clarity. They don't avoid, they address, calm, direct, on time. Law 21. The law of detachment. If you need it, it owns you. Attachment clouds vision. When you need the client, the follower, the approval, you compromise. Detachment isn't apathy, it's freedom, the ability to walk away and stay true to your standards. People can lift you or tear you down, but no one controls your life like you do. And when it comes to decision-making, the next 6 laws will distinguish between the impulsive and the intentional. Part 4. Laws of decision-making and risk. Law 22. The law of asymmetry. Not all effort is created equal. Most people treat every decision like it matters equally. But some choices have asymmetric upside, low risk and high reward. Find those, bet on them. Smart decision makers don't do more. They choose better leverage points. Law 23. The law of opportunity cost. Saying yes is saying no to everything else. Time is limited. Energy is finite. Every yes drains your focus from something else. Greatness requires ruthless clarity. Not more goals, fewer distractions. Law 24. The law of strategic ignorance. You don't need more information. You need better filters. In the age of noise, curiosity can be a curse. Learn to ignore not just distractions, but even some truths. Focus on what moves the needle. Let the rest pass. Law 25. The law of uncertainty. If you need guarantees, you'll always move too slow. Waiting for perfect information is just another form of fear. The best decisions are made in the dark, with courage, not certainty. Action breeds clarity. Overthinking breeds regret. Law 26. The law of calculated risk. Safe is seductive, but dangerous. Comfort zones feel nice, but they cost you an opportunity. The most fulfilled people don't chase safety. They chase growth, and that means leaning into calculated discomfort. Risk isn't reckless, it's required. Law 27, the law of conviction. Uncertainty is natural. Belief is a choice. Every great idea was once ridiculous. Every breakthrough was once lonely. If you don't believe in your vision before the world does, you'll quit before the world even notices. Conviction is the fire that turns maybe into momentum. You've learned how to think clearly, how to risk wisely, and how to lead yourself. But what's it all for? The final 6 laws extend beyond business. They're about meaning, legacy, and who you become when the spotlight fades. Part 5. Laws of Meaning and Legacy. Law 28. The law of regret. Regret doesn't come from failure. It comes from inaction. Most people don't regret what they did. They regret what they never tried. The business they didn't start. The message they didn't send. The version of themselves they had never met. Failure stings. But what if haunts? Law 29. The law of the inner child. You're still trying to impress the people who ignored you. Your adult ambition is often rooted in childhood wounds. We chase validation, not goals. Success won't fix that. You don't need more applause. You need to heal the version of you who felt invisible. Law 30. The law of fulfillment. Success is empty without meaning. Money, fame, status, they shine bright, but they burn out fast. What remains is the impact. Fulfillment doesn't come from what you get. It comes from what you give back. Law 31. The law of service. The most successful people serve something bigger than themselves. Business isn't about money. It's about solving problems. Life isn't about being impressive. It's about being useful. When you live in service, you live with purpose. Law 32. The law of mortality. You are running out of time. You won't live forever. And that's not depressing, it's liberating. Because urgency kills procrastination. And when you remember the clock is ticking, you stop waiting and start becoming. Law 33. The law of simplicity. Clarity is freedom. You don't need more steps. You need fewer distractions. The highest performing people don't do more. They do more with less focus, more depth, and more heart. Complexity is noise. Simplicity is power. So now you've heard them all. 33 laws. Each one earned, not imagined. Each one painful, honest, and real. Stephen didn't write them to impress you. He wrote them to remind you, success is not an accident. It's a discipline, a standard, a lifestyle. If even one of them shook something loose in you, good. Because this isn't just a list, it's a mirror. And maybe for the first time it showed you why you feel stuck or what needs to change next. But reading isn't enough. Knowing isn't enough. Change is earned through action. So here's your challenge. Pick just one law, the one that hits hardest, and apply it today. Not tomorrow. Not when things calm down. Today, because of the gap between who you are and who you could become. It closes one decision at a time. And if you're wondering, how do I stay consistent with this version of me? There's one book that perfectly extends what you've just learned. Atomic Habits by James Clear. While Diary of a CEO gives you the mindset, Atomic Habits gives you the system. It's the playbook for making success your default setting, not a lucky spike. And finally, drop a comment, which law hit you the hardest and why. If this video gave you clarity, share it with someone who needs it. They'll thank you later. And if you want more brutally honest book breakdowns like this, hit subscribe. Success doesn't come to those who wait. It comes to those who work with the truth.